The other day, I was invited to share my opinion on business agility at the German Association of Management Consultants. My position was rather controversial, so I thought it might be interesting for you too. What wasn't controversial is that adaptability leads to greater success. We all know the studies, we all know the stories. It's fine, no need to talk about that. What was controversial, though, is that I believe agility is not about mindset, it's not about method, it's just a practical organizational capability. Don't get me wrong, I love Scrum, I love the Agile Manifesto, I love self-organizational techniques for teams, and we actually practice those ourselves. They're pretty handy for what we do. But that's not what business agility is about. Business agility is about reliably delivering business results in times of constant change. So essentially, it's good business management. It's what it always has been. I want you to let go of everything that you know about Big A Agile. I know you can't do that. I can't ask you to not think about Scrum and SAFe and the values and all that stuff. That's fine. What I would want to ask you as leaders in your organization, think about what have you done in the last years that has had a tremendous impact on your organization's results? What behaviors have you observed in successful leaders in your organization or other organizations? What have they done that created a great impact for their organizations and their results? And how do they continuously create those results? What is it that they do? What do you do to continuously have high impact? Here's what I see. In the end, organizations exist to cater for and deliver a value for an external customer. For-profit organizations, they create a commercial result. And leaders, it's their obligation, it's their responsibility to reliably deliver those results. And the one thing fundamental, the one effective thing they do is making decisions. They make decisions on what is the most important thing now and who takes care of it. They don't make that many decisions, but that's the one that makes a real difference. There are two side conditions to making this decision. One, business is complex, so it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You might sit in your silo, but you have to work with other parts of the organization. You have to work with your peers, with your bosses, and yes, that's plural. You have to work with experts from other parts of the business, so it's a complex decision-making problem. Two is dynamics. Business isn't linear, we all know that, and that's where you're supposed to say, ooh, VUCA. But relevant decision-making parameters, or our interpretation of this information, changes constantly. So what do leaders, successful leaders, do in this environment to continuously make good decisions that have high impact for their organizations? From my perspective, they always and continuously do three things. They anticipate, they adapt, and they accelerate. I know that's a marketing slang, 3A's. What do I mean by that? Anticipate. This is not about big data and sensing and all that. This is about creating a list of things that you and your organization could be working on very practically that reflects changes in trends. Not trends, changes in trends. What are the things that we should be working on, potentially? Then adapt. You adapt what the organization is focusing on and how your resources, and that's people typically, sometimes money, match to those priorities. And three, accelerate. This isn't about making people work faster. This is about creating an environment for people where they can work as productively as possible. That means giving them the freedom to work the way they want, giving them the ability to resolve conflicts that are outside their control. It's about removing obstacles to execution, which are often resource constraints. That's your role as a leader. And those 3A's, in my opinion, they're universal. They apply to any type of intellectual of knowledge work. So a leader, by the way, could be a very senior manager or an expert in a team or a middle management position. And that middle management is not a bad thing, let me tell you. We always have recurring strategic processes, like a planning process. We do have a recurring Scrum flow. But what's often overlooked, my perspective, is that you need the same for the management layer, the layer in the middle. It's a tactical layer that connects strategy and execution in that sense. If you achieve adaptability at that layer, I'm convinced that it's not so important how work is then actually being executed. Agile methodologies can come in at that level. They don't need to. So can you do projects and be agile? Hell yes, you can. At the event I mentioned in the beginning, I asked the participants to think of observations they've made around those 3A's. So what are their own experiences, or what have they seen at their customers, what successful managers and leaders do around those 3A's? Nobody mentioned daily stand-ups. Nobody mentioned story points. Nobody mentioned culture and values transformation. They mentioned very, very practical things such as listening to customers and colleagues to sense those changes and trends and to get to that list of potential activities. They mentioned good relationships or creating good relationships with their peers and bosses to create a decision-making environment where you can have a decision that actually sticks and makes sense and is accepted by the organization. And they actively resolve conflicts during execution. So wonderful things that every manager has at his or her disposal by definition. So summing up, to me, business agility isn't about method, isn't about mindset, it's a capability, it's about delivering results. Can you do projects and be agile? Hell yes, you can. And leaders today, they can do very, very practical things that increase their organization's agility. So this is it for today. I'm looking forward to your comments. Please do share your observations around the 3A's. What do you see can leaders do very practically today to achieve more agility in your organization? Bye for now.